Hi, welcome back, guys. I wanted to look at one of your homework problems and work it out to help you out a little bit. So this is number 3. Yours will be similar, but the numbers might be a little different. These are all kind of very similar, guys. You're just using matrices to represent the information in these tables. Okay, I mean, this basically is your matrix right here. But anyway, let's go ahead and read it. And then it says the food service manager at a large hospital is concerned about maintaining reasonable food costs. The following table lists the cost per serving in cents for items on 4 menus. Okay, so this entry right here would represent 44.5 cents. On a particular day, a dietitian orders 61 meals from menu 1. So menu 1 is this first row. 46 meals from menu 2, which is the second row. 98 meals from menu 3, and 58 meals from menu 4. And then, of course, it says complete the parts A through D. So it says write the information in the table as a 4x5 matrix. Maintain the ordering of foods and menus from the table. Okay. So similar to that last example that I did, this is your matrix right here, guys. So this is what you're going to put in. Now when you do this in the homework, you have to, well, I'm meaning to show you that. You have to dictate how many rows and columns you need. Okay, so in this one you would need 4 rows and 5 columns. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead, instead of rewriting out all this, I am going to type this into my calculator, because we'll probably need to do some math with it here in a minute. I'm going to come over to edit. So M is the same as my A, so just kind of remember that. And this is a 4x5. And so I should have done this beforehand. Actually, let me just pause the video. I'm going to type in all these entries. Okay. Alright, okay, I got all the entries typed in here. You can scroll left or right to see them all. So that's what you would put in for M. Okay. We'll look at one in the homework here in just a second, just to show you how to do that. And then it says write a row matrix N that represents the number of meals ordered from each menu, maintain the ordering of menus from the table. Okay, well that is going to come from this information right here, and it says a row matrix, right? So this will be a 1x4, okay, in which the first entry is 61 meals from menu 1, 46 meals from menu 2, 98 meals from menu 3, and then finally 58 meals from menu 4. Okay, this would be your row matrix. And then part C says find this product, N times M, or in other words, the row matrix times the cost. You could call this the cost matrix, I guess, the cost of each food, okay, from the different menus. So let's go ahead and do that. What I'll need to do though is put in matrix N. I'm going to put that in B here. Okay, it is a 1x4. Let me input those entries real quick. 61, 46, 98, and 58. Okay, so I'm going to quit this screen. Now I need to tell my calculator to multiply N times M. But the way I have my matrices B is my N times, and then A is my M. Okay. So now when I hit enter, it gives me this. And I guess I could go ahead and write this out. I've got enough room here. So let's see, 12,724.7. And then we've got, whoops, the middle entry I think is 1,757.7. And then the third entry is 2,143.9. And then finally, oh wait, well there's probably going to be 5 of these. Oh, I think I've got them out of order. I missed one. I wrote the wrong third entry. It should be 2,963. $2,963.6. And then 2,143.9. And then the last entry, 2,596.6. Okay. All right. Now this is a 1 by 5. So what did we do here? We multiplied n, which was a 1 by 4, times m, which was a 4 by 5. Okay. So remember, these middle numbers match, and so the result is going to be the outside numbers, 1 by 5. So, because you'll need to be able to know the order. Okay. So this is 1 by 5. Now the last part of this question is state what the entries here of that product mean. Well, remember what we're doing when we'd be taking this row and pairing it up with this column, okay, and then adding all those together. So what this entry, to get this very first entry, so what that represents is basically the entire cost of meat, okay, and then you would take this same row and pair it up with the second column here, okay, and that will give you the total cost for potatoes, okay, of all the 4 different menu items ordered. So to answer this question, it's always going to be the total, and this is going to be the cost of each food for the day, okay. The entries, each entry is the cost of each food. Now, if you were to add all these entries together, that would give you the total food cost, okay, but that's not what this is asking. Okay, so anyway, and this is actually in cents, by the way, so anyway, guys, just, take your time on these. Now, let's go into the homework just for a second. There it is. Let's look at number 3. So look, see, it's the same type of question, okay? But I just wanted to show you how to actually input these matrices. So when you click in here, this math palette opens up. You're going to have to select this tool right here for matrix, and it's going to ask you for the number of rows and columns. Well, this was the same as the last one. Let's bump that number of rows up to 4, and then down here, number of columns to 5. Okay. So now you'll be able to actually type in all these numbers. It's kind of a shame that you can't just copy and paste, because well, and you can click this if you want to modify it some, if you didn't quite get the number of rows or columns right, or you can just redo it. But anyway, that's how you do it. Okay, just wanted you to see that. All right, and typically, even I think let's see. Number 4 is a 3 by 2 for S, which will contain, I guess, the orders. And then you're going to have a row matrix. It'll be the cost. Okay. The cost to make each of these. And then you'll multiply the row times the quantity matrix, and that will give you the, let's see, this would be end up being a 1 by 3. Is that right? Yeah, because C will be a 1 by 3. Oh no, yeah, so C will be a 1 by 3. S will be a 3 by 2. So the resultant matrix will be a 1 by 2. Okay, and so the result will basically be the total cost that she has to spend at Mugsy's coffee shop to make these 3 different types of cookies, and the total cost at the coffee club to make those 3 different cookies. So it would be the total cost in dollars of the ingredients for each shop. So it's going to be C. Okay, for this one here. It always ends up being basically the sum of the rows, or excuse me, the sum of the columns. Okay. All right. Anyway, well, hopefully that helps you out some on these some of these homework problems. All right. So I'll see you in 3.7.